All right. Nothing like starting the day with a little Paul Simon. Yeah, a little Paul Simon never hurt anybody. Good morning, team, and welcome to our second sales meeting of June. God, we're already halfway through the month. We've only had a couple of Tuesdays. Excited to have you all here with us for a continuation of our listing conversations as it comes to our sales meeting and the sales meeting training happening each and every week. Speaking of each and every week, we always start the same way with a little conversation about our belief system. And sorry, I'm just going to mute some folks. And this week, we're coming right off the heels of our career night last night, and one of our guests had a question about, hey, I see these words on the wall. What is the belief system? Like, explain that to me with a little bit more detail. And so we actually had an opportunity with a room full of guests and people that are interested in a career in real estate and working their way through their courses to talk a little bit more about what these all mean. And what I thought was great was, one, that individual had that question, but two, that we were able to break down and how great it is to operate inside of a culture where, if anybody were to ask me about how these show up in our company or with our agents, I've got dozens of examples with respect to what we do. And so the one that jumped out at me last night as we were working through these was the one of customers. So the customers piece, I think, is great because, yes, it is a framework for us to work with our clients or people that we're helping to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. It's also a framework that we use as a leadership team as we look out and think about how we can better serve and support all of our agents. I think our best agents look at the individuals that they are working with and alongside in the transaction. They're cooperating brokers or cooperating agents as customers, right? And so when we are always putting others or customers first, we will go further faster. And there are countless examples of agents in our company treating each other like really great customers and putting each other first to help spread opportunities. So love that exists and is so easy to talk about as a part of our company. All right, gang. We've been talking about it for probably 9 months at this point that the shift is coming. If you continue to read the stat lines on the MLS, like the ticker tape on the stock market, it is in fact starting to show up. We are seeing through the first half of June, closings are down, listings are down, inventory starting to come back up. So the shift is on. Your closings that are coming through, I promise you, congratulations. That was from the end of the first and start of the second quarter. We are now working, the business that we're building right now is business that we're building into the third quarter. It's really important that we understand that when we head into a shift, remargining our business is incredibly important to make sure that we stay in the business and can grow our business. If you look back at the last major shift that we had from a market standpoint, it wasn't like all of the new agents got wiped out. In fact, some of our top agents in the company, right, were brand new agents in 2009, 10, and 11 when we were in the bottom of the shift, right? So it's not a matter of all the new agents get wiped out in the shift. It's the agents who aren't prepared for it. And there's lots of ways to prepare, right? We doubled down on our lead generation. We look to do more with less. You're looking at 12 things. The first thing you have to do is remargin your business. And so looking at anybody who is investing and not getting a 4-to-1 rate of return on their investments in terms of advertising, marketing, lead spend, and then also making sure that, we know where we're bleeding out capital from a business standpoint and a personal standpoint. Great, easy exercise is print off the last 2 or 3 months worth of credit card statements for your business credit card and your personal credit card, and then highlight everything that you first don't know in one color, highlight everything that is a recurring charge in another color, and move on from there. The opportunity to do more with less comes through the ability to remargin your business, manage your expenses down, and then redeploy capital into the highest return opportunities. That's what the next 6 to 12 months is going to be all about. All right. Speaking of big success in the here and now, we had some really strong performances in the month of May that we want to celebrate with both our closed units and our listings. So, there's nothing more that I love. It's a great trope from a lot of films. Pretty much every Bruce Lee film that was ever made is when the instructor or the master really shows their true level of ability. So love seeing Eric Akbar at the top of the listings taken list with 9 in the month of May. That's more than 2 a week. And then seeing a lot of the individuals that he has coached or currently coaches in his various programs on the list with him as well. But big congratulations to Eric for a strong month. Speaking of the number 9, Nicole McHale with 9 units sold in the month of May. So a very big May. And then we just heard from him a few weeks ago about Golden Letters, but Scott Carpenter with 6 closings, and then Carol and Rudy with 5 each. For the teams, the Distinct Home Group sits atop the listings taken, followed closely by the Shimoleski Group and the AO Art Obleton Group. For units sold, shout out to our operating principal, Jake Lozier with the Lozier Group, 11 closings in the month of June, followed by Ina and the Distinct Home Group, Eddie Donnelly with the Thresholds Group, and then Art Obleton and Mike Arco, a couple of our ALC members. And then for our groups or large teams, shout out to a lot of folks. The young team, a staple in this mix, but Chase Group, Golden Group, Cisco team, List Sell Buy team, the Premier Heights Group as well. That's Sophie Boland's team. Nobody really none of those groups under outside of double digits in closings, and nearly every one of them in double digits when it comes to listings. So a lot of production moving through the funnel there, a lot to be celebrated. So hopefully you got your you took advantage of the opportunities that May gave you, and looking forward to seeing what you do with the rest of the summer. Congratulations. All right, so upcoming trainings first, big shout out, big thank you to everybody who was participated in, or or invited a guest to our career night last night. We had a lot of fun. We had a good group. As I mentioned, very dialed in, very plugged into the cultural aspects. I believe that will yield some really talented additions to our team as a result of last night's session. And more coming. We have 2 a month, 1 in Pepper Pike, 1 in Rocky River, each and every month. So don't miss out on the opportunity to be there in Rocky River, or send anybody you know. These are done both in person and via Zoom. So if you're like, I missed the Pepper Pike one, I want to send somebody, but they don't want to drive to Rocky River, they can plug in on Zoom. As you know, I am just as animated and interesting over the computer screen as I am in person. So that was a joke. You guys have to put up with me every Tuesday this way, but don't forget to send your folks. And they don't have to be in classes. They don't have to be committed. It's just somebody who's looking for more information on what could be a life-changing and limitless career opportunity. All righty. So next Tuesday, 1 week from today, we will have our sales meeting in the morning, followed by a CE that Greater Metropolitan Title and Escrow has put together for us on 1031 exchanges. As we've mentioned, this is a really impactful course, a great way to wrap your head around a financial tool that helps protect your clients and their wealth by moving assets from one property into another, or multiple by deferring tax exposure. So don't miss this. It's easy. CE, pop in there, get your camera on, listen, get educated, and then use this as a mofer, right? Just because May's over doesn't mean we're done talking about mofers. Make offer for immediate response. Who do you know? I promise it'll trigger a few people in your head when you get educated on this that could benefit from leveraging a 1031. And then on Wednesday, the 22nd, Jeff Glover comes to Cleveland. So Jeff is a big fan and a big friend of our market center. He's one of the top agents in all of Keller Williams. His team sells over 1,000 units a year. And Jeff himself over 100 units a year as a rainmaker. So he is somebody who does the business and does it at a very high level. Guys, he's not selling, millions and millions and millions of dollars of real estate on the coasts, right? Where in San Diego, where the average sales price is $980,000. He's doing it in Detroit, Michigan, and he's been doing it for the better part of 2 decades at this point. Jeff is an incredible instructor and a really impactful guy, and a big fan of all things Keller Williams, and believe it or not, all things Cleveland. Being that he's in Detroit, it's either, be a fan of Cleveland or have to put up with the Lions. So I think he's opted for Cleveland at this point based on the Lions' performance. But Jeff will be here on Wednesday, June 22nd. He's putting on a session about 5 steps to get 15 more sellers this summer, right? You are going to continue to hear how important, how valuable, how impactful listings are going to be. Jeff lists a ton of units and has great systems, great formulas, great mofers. So if you're interested in that opportunity, pop in the chat, grab yourself a ticket, and we'll see you in Independence. And then on the 23rd, big week next week, right? On the 23rd, Thursday, 23rd, calling all cappers. You should have received an email, some text messages. If you haven't, we'll be hammering you with follow-up to confirm that you'll be there so that we can celebrate you. This will be at the All Saints Public House in the Detroit Shoreway, and will be sponsored by our friends at Cross Country Mortgage. So very excited to have this event back on the calendar for another year, and expecting it to be a lot of fun with the people that we have shown up already. And then our feature presentation for our feature course for the month is the 6 personal perspectives with Eddie Donnelly. So this is going to be in person only, but this is going to be a deep dive into the 6 personal perspectives which Gary Keller created as a way to help agents focus and understand what's necessary in any endeavor to adopt the mindset of a high achiever, to be accountable, to have breakthroughs, and to do the things that you need to do to have the things that you want in your life. If you haven't heard Eddie present before, he's fantastic in front of the room, and it will definitely be worth your time. So please sign up now, take advantage of it. There are limited seats, so go ahead and grab one on June 29th, 11 a.m., Pepper Pike office. And then we're rolling right into July. Our reverse book club returns, where Matt Chase, one of our top producers, is going to be sharing his lessons learned and his lessons implemented from a book called The War of Art. And this is a Steven Pressfield book. Steven Pressfield is a very clean, clear, direct writer that is focused on helping people get into action and activity in any discipline. not just real estate, but he actually makes a lot of hay in the creative markets, right? Where people think they need inspiration or they want to be in, some of us wait to be inspired to do lead gen. And this is a great book. And I know Matt applies a lot of the principles of this book on a daily basis, about breaking through the obstacles and the blocks and how to get into action and get results. So very excited about that one. Looking forward to it. And then excited to announce our summer mastermind. We have, this will be July 13th from 10 to 1 at Mayfield Sandridge Country Club. Same place it was last year. We have an outstanding lineup of panels, and we have added a keynote speaker this year, Maurice Clarett, former Buckeye, former Omaha Nighthawk, former mentee of Warren Buffett, and local philanthropist and investor, will be joining us to talk about how important mindset is in overcoming tragedy and difficulty, whether it be external or internal. We're very excited for this. One of the pieces of feedback that we got from agents was, hey, the summer masterminds was awesome. The panels were awesome. It would be great to get everybody in the room to all enjoy the same message and have that message be timely and impactful. And we believe and hope that we're going to deliver on that for everybody this year. So you can get your tickets now and take advantage of being in early, being first. I promise these will sell out. This is going to be a very attractive event for people internally and externally, and take advantage of that. And then finally, put a pin in your calendar for our summer luau, July 29th at Edgewater Beach. This is our annual cookout event and potluck. So we'll be coming back to you with signups on who wants to make the best dip or watermelon art. But excited to have everyone there. And this is a family-friendly event. So if you're looking for something casual and relaxing to do on a Friday night, bring the dogs, bring the family, bring the kiddos, hang out, and we will have a ball together. So we'll see you all then for that. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Jermaine Brooks. If you could, sir, please go ahead and unmute yourself and we will pin you to the screen. But tell us a little bit about what's going on this weekend with Juneteenth at Coventry Village and our Black Realtor Network sponsorship.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, yeah, I know last year Lisa did one heck of a presentation in regards to Juneteenth and the meaning behind it and everything. I don't have that PowerPoint presentation, but I could give just a brief synopsis of what is Juneteenth. I know it's still a learning curve on the actual date and the meaning. It just became a federal national holiday last year. So that was a tremendous step in the right way. So I'm just going to do a quick reading on the actual date and the meaning behind Juneteenth. On Freedom's Eve, or the eve of January 1st, 1863, the first watch night services took place. On that night, enslaved and free African Americans gathered in churches and private homes all across the country, awaiting the news of the Emancipation Proclamation had taken effect. At the stroke of midnight, prayers were answered as all enslaved people in Confederate states were declared legally free. Union soldiers, many of whom were Black, marched onto plantations across the cities in the South, reading small copies of the Emancipation Proclamation, spreading the news of freedom in Confederate states. Only through the 13th Amendment did emancipation end slavery throughout the United States. However, not everyone in Confederate territories would be immediately free. Even though the Emancipation Proclamation was made effective in 1863, it could not be implemented in places still under severe Confederate control. As a result, in the westernmost Confederate state of Texas, enslaved people would not be free until much later. Freedom finally came on June 19th, 1865, 2 years later, when some 2,000 Union troops arrived in Galveston Bay, Texas. The Army announced that the more than 250,000 still enslaved Black people in the state were free by executive decree. This day came to be known as Juneteenth by the newly freed people in Texas. So that's the history of the date and the importance. And with it becoming a national holiday just last year, in the wake of a lot of, injustice and Black Lives Matter campaigns and things like that, it's really taken on. But we are honored to actually have been invited to sponsor, as Keller Williams Brown, the Juneteenth event at Coventry Village. So we're inviting the whole office. Everybody should show up. It's Father's Day as well. So, as fathers, we always got to split our holiday with something. But it's a good holiday to split it with. But yes, so I see Carrie had been dropping a lot of the links. So there is a sign-up sheet. Everyone is, like I said, everyone is invited. There's going to be live music all day, free food. They have a movie in the park starting at 9. It's over 80 Black-owned businesses that will be there. So it's also a good place to network, grow your sphere as well, and just come out and celebrate the holiday. So, like I stated, it is sponsored by Keller Williams Greater Metropolitans, KW Brown. I know my team will be there in full force, asking everybody in the office who wants to participate to come on out. It's family friendly, a lot of artists, music all day. It's an all day event from 1 to 9. So grab a couple hours and come on out. They do have a sign up sheet. If anyone wants to work, they do have a sign up sheet for that, but there will be a table for KW there as well.
That's awesome. Well, Jermaine, thank you so much for your leadership on this, your leadership as a part of the Agent Leadership Council, and of course, for helping us maximize these opportunities for our company, our agents, and the community that we serve.
Thank you all for the support.
Excellent. Well, we will see you there on Sunday.
That'll work.
Great. All right, we're gonna throw it over to our partners for a partner update as we've got some news in the mortgage world. Mr. Hadley, to the stage, please, to give us the latest, and I won't even say greatest.
It's enough. All right. So, well, first off, before I forget, Don's not on the call today. He's on his way to Las Vegas. Cross Country Mortgage sales rally. It's kind of our family reunion. Kicks off later tonight, and I will be out of the office working remote, as will Don. Chris Bullock will be here standing, kind of holding the fort, but we will all be still 100% accessible, just slightly delayed with some callbacks and such. But yeah, the announcement, you're going to see headlines, if not already, but 30-year fixed went up dramatically from last week to this week. So as I keep looking to the right over here, I have a few live screens going, but right now, as of this morning, the 30-year fixed average nationwide is 6.18%. So we saw interest rates jump up about 0.5% from midweek last week to where we sit today. So this will be, a bit more of what we've seen. We the climb up from interest rates from December to where we are now. It's kind of go slow and then spike, slow and spike, with very few valleys in between. So I put in the chat box just a quick graph just to provide a little perspective, long term, and you can view the short term as well, just where rates are historically speaking and where they are today. So the headlines, the close of business yesterday, the one headline that caught my eye was one of the 5 worst days for bonds in over a decade. And if you think back a decade ago was right after the mortgage meltdown, credit crunch, the last recession, or Great Recession. So we're going to feel a little bit of this, obviously, with the general population. All the customers that I'm speaking with day to day are pre-approved, pre-qualified. they're likely not going to be totally blindsided by this because we're always having conversations about interest rates, but that's the news, and that's where we're at. The Federal Reserve Board meeting starts today. Tomorrow at 2:15, they'll have a press conference. All signs up until last week had pointed to the rate jumping up 0.5%, or the Federal Reserve bumping up the rate 0.5%. Now that's in question, that it could be anywhere from 0.5 to 1 full percent. And as well with more, sort of indications about what's to come in the next few meetings to follow. So anyway, that's kind of the big news is rates are pushing up. We'll still do business as you pop open that 30-year graph and look in the 80s when rates were 18%. That's when Gary Keller started Keller Williams, and they've obviously thrived then and now. So it's just a shift as we keep hearing about, but just wanted to let you know what was happening in the mortgage world. But, any comments or questions?
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that while I buy some people some time to ask a few questions about about what the world could look like over the course of the next 12 months or so. But anecdotally, what I hear from agents that I work with is that the spike in interest rates, or the lift in interest rates, is going to impact people in your current buyer pipeline potentially. Depends on how motivated they are to buy, right? We sometimes will fill our pipelines with looky-loos, or we stop filling our pipeline once we have people in it. Sean, you've been in this game long enough to know that, do people buy houses at 6% interest rates?
They do.
Do they buy them at 7?
They do.
Do they buy them at 8?
They do.
Yeah. I won't keep going, but as we are constantly reminded in our own lives and the lives of our clients, people buy and sell real estate based on life events. Real estate events always follow life events. Birth, death, marriage, divorce, promotion, and demotion are things that drive real estate decisions. And know that as we have economic shifts, real estate market shifts, we're probably 4 weeks away from announcing a recession, after 2 consecutive quarters of GDP decline. Those things lead to life events, right? And our ability to help our clients navigate life events that impact their real estate is where we earn clients for life. And I want you to know that as these interest rates start to do what they do, and there's unpredictability and there's inconsistency in my rate lock and things of that nature, it's more and more important for a stronger and stronger partnership with an experienced mortgage professional like the ones that we partner with at Cross Country Mortgage. Now, I know they don't always fly off to Vegas in the middle of the week, and leave the new guy behind. But I want to stress that because if the national average is 6.18% and your client is working with somebody other than Sean Hadley, they very much risk the opportunity of paying more than that. Sean and Don are wizards, and so leverage them as part of your team, right? Shift tactic number 3, do more with less. Leverage your business. Having strong partnerships with guys like Sean and Don is a huge lever for your business. All right, over to, any questions? Did I miss anything in the chat? Doesn't look like I did. All right, so we're going to go over to our team at Greater Metropolitan Title and Escrow.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to let everyone know that Tiffany is out of the office this week as well in Vegas with Sean. Lucky them. But I wanted to remind everyone again, I know Mike, you already said it, but we are going to have a CE next week in regards to 1031 exchanges. Guys, this is going to be a great class, not only for your business, but for you guys, growing your business, growing your investment portfolio, things of that nature. And if you guys have TCs or admins and you guys want them to attend, that is fine as well. Just let them know in any spot where it asks for their license number or anything that doesn't pertain to them. Just fill that in with NA and you should be able to sign up. If you guys aren't able to sign up, please give me a call, email, and we will get it all figured out. But other than that, if you have any questions regarding the CE, please let me know.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for all of your support of our continued education and all of our continuing deals. So thanks for the help there. All right. Over to Miss Gina Legeza. Hey, Gina, how are you?
Good morning. Doing well. Hanging in there.
All
I
right.
wanted to bring up something that keeps surfacing, and that's how to write a clean offer and still have the protection of a home warranty. Seems to be coming up a lot, Michael. So when you're writing in a home warranty and your buyer is paying for the home warranty, you don't have to give the invoice to the title company if it's not being taken out at closing and you want to clean offer. Your client can simply have the invoice, you put the warranty in like you normally would, and then basically your client can call our 1-800 number after closing, like a day or two, and pay for the warranty themselves. So I just want to put it out there. You can still have a clean offer for your client, put your best foot forward for them, and still protect them. We have a staggering number that has really changed in this market, and that's 9 out of 10 homeowners have a major system failure in the first 30 days. So 3 ways to protect your buyers. Number one, in a market that has no home inspections, put the warranty on. It will give them coverage. Number 2, it'll help them with out-of-pocket expenses. And number 3, if they have to replace an AC unit, as an example, that $425 warranty will get them a 10-year manufacturer warranty on service and parts. So what a value for your client. And for you, we keep you in touch with your client. Every time they have a claim, you get digital repair cards. And I just wanted to say, last but not least, if you want to really elevate your business to the next level and turn your paperwork in more easily in less than 30 seconds, I have a Real Pro class the second Wednesday of every month. I will put the Zoom link into our chat box. So this is how you would turn your paperwork in using our online web portal system. It'll really change your life and make things much easier. Second Wednesday of every month, I'll put that in the chat box. But thank you all for your support. Great to be here today.
All right, excellent. Thank you. And thank you for that end around on how to still protect my clients with home warranty, even if it's not going to be included in the offer. All right, and then I don't think I saw Jess here this morning, so let's see, just quick double check. Jess Ivins with us? No. All right, great. Well, team, I have an interesting plot twist for you today. We had a slight snafu from a scheduling standpoint. Miss Debbie Garson got some wires crossed and is actually not in a position to have our conversation this morning. So we're going to shift that out, and both her and Larry Wonke will be our full hour next week. So Larry's going to talk about winning the listing, right? Last week, Art talked about finding the listing. Larry's going to take you through how he wins the listing and what it looks like to go in and secure a listing every single time. And then Debbie is going to talk to us about maximizing that listing on the 21st as well. So we will have a full hour of education next Tuesday. So we've got about 15 minutes though, where I know everyone came here looking for some conversation on listing, and I'm not willing to deny you that. So I want to know what, and if we can't answer them this week as a team, we will definitely tee up our squad next week to answer them. But what are the pain points that we're looking at when it comes to winning the listing and when it comes to maximizing the listing and turning one listing into 2, 3, or 4? What are you guys running into? What's the objections? What's the challenge? How can we, as a group, have a little conversation here, but also set our presenters next week up for maximum success? So what do you got? Drop something in the chat, or just feel free to unmute. We're going to be bold. We're going to invite you to unmute today. you would think we would have more challenges in a market that's down 28% in listings for month to date. I think I heard somebody unmute. Oh, that's just Jade Zivko. All right, well, this is gonna make for an interesting conversation next week then. Now, so guys, apologize for the scheduling conflict here. Heidi, the question was, what challenges are you running into with listings, either winning the listing or maximizing the listing?
I have a question. I've realized that I've lost out on 2 listings recently because, and I don't know, maybe I just didn't run the comps well enough. I actually quoted them under what they thought they could get, thinking, oh, they're just not being realistic about, you know, their expectations. So they decided to go with different listing agents and went like 20,000 over what I suggested. And now it's under contract in like a couple days. And I'm just kind of kicking myself in the butt, like, why, you know, I guess, I don't know, the comps didn't really support it. So I guess because it's a seller's market, maybe whatever I'm thinking in my head, I should have just tacked on an extra 10 to 20,000. What's your thoughts around that?
Yeah, and I'll this is an open forum, guys. So by all means, if anyone has run into that or has been burned by that in a similar way, I certainly have a perspective on it. But would if anybody else has a solve for that or a way that you've navigated that with your clients, feel free to unmute and chime in.
I have a tendency to ask first, what are they thinking about? As in asking them what their price is.
Mm-hmm. Now, Nancy, what if they come in and you've got a framework in your mind? Oh, this should be listed at 200, and they come and they say, we think it's 240, right? How do you navigate?
Then we have to have a real long conversation, or an honest conversation about this market today. What it was a week ago is different from today.
Yeah. And I think that, and unfortunately that can go both ways, right? We see, I call it a yo-yo market, right? There's 22 new homes on the market last week in this zip code, and then they're all gone. So the inventory is high and low and high and low, the more you zoom in. So, I think that, one, being dialed in. I know a couple agents on this call, if they want to jump on, are willing to take the listing at above what they feel comfortable with, pre-scripting a price reduction, right? And so, if they want to list for $20,000 more than what it's worth, okay, we can do that. Here's what the data tells us, right? Emotion, logic makes them think, emotion makes them act. You want them doing both things. So give them the data. Hey, here's what the market says. Well, my buddy just sold his, and all these other emotional things are going to come into play. Great. We can list at 220. And the longer your home stays on the market, the more likely it is that people are going to be asking questions, or they're going to perceive something wrong, or they're going to perceive that it's overpriced. So what we want to be is we want to set the parameters. We'll list at 220. If we don't have offers, if we don't have an offer in the first 7 days, right, or we don't have more than 25 showings, then we're going to reduce the price to 205 automatically, right? And it's just, you're not going to follow up about a price reduction. You want to know that you're going to bury that price right to where you thought it would be. Right. And Jermaine, I just saw your camera come back on because I think you do this. Is that right?
Yeah, you sound just like me. I'll just sit back and listen now.
Well, I think you're the one that told me you'd do this. So I was hoping, you'd, your ears would perk up. Yeah, you want to talk a little bit more about that conversation where you give a little ground and you get it back?
Yeah, it's pretty much what Nancy said, because I personally, every time I gave a price, I didn't get the listing. So I stopped doing that a few years ago. I do what Nancy says, like, where do you think you need to be? And then that's when we had a realistic conversation. We show the numbers, we show the data, we talk about, possible appraisals and everything like that. And then I always tell them, look, I'll take the ride with you to try to hit this home run. But if it doesn't, and then that's when we go through all the different steps of automatically we're doing a reduction if we don't have this many showings, if we don't have an offer, and you let them know that, so that you set those expectations at the top and then go from there. But in this market, I will say I went on a listed appointment over the weekend, and there was a extremely higher price home, and she was stuck on Zillow. So what I started doing was I started looking at the Zillow estimates, because most people are looking at that and they're seeing what they think their house is worth. And then I'm coming in with straight facts from the MLS. And that was the conversation we had. Yes, this is what Zillow said, but there has not been a house sold for this much in the whole year. And I went back 365 days. So it's that real conversation that you have to have, and you back it up with the facts from the MLS and the data that we have. So that's exactly what I do.
Yeah, that's great. And that is responding to what that's the market of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
When we're working with a completely different set of areas, let them start the conversation on the home value. But now information is more ubiquitous. People have access to it, even if it's bad information, right? Like, anytime someone quotes a Zestimate to me, I just remind them that Zillow's algorithm lost them over $250 million in 2021. So, we don't want to be a part of that equation. So let's not base things on that. And it's a data point, right? And one data point doesn't make a trend or a calculation. Is that helpful, Heidi? Do you think is that some tweaks to the presentation you can make there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I need to not just throw out a number, because they'll kind of like corner you, and sometimes they won't say what number they're thinking because they want to hear it from you first. So I think I need to go back to my scripts, practice that. And also I blame myself that maybe I wasn't as familiar with that specific market area as I am with others. So I have a lot to learn.
Well, and I think it's that attitude and that mindset that's going to let you take a lot more listings, right? I mean, don't forget, National Association of Realtors says that 77% of people that sold their home last year listed with the first person that they met, right? And even if it drops a little bit, year over year, still, if they're listing with the first person they meet, you can be first. They're only interviewing one. 77% are only interviewing one. So, hey, there's opportunity all around. The only way to make up for it is to go get the next one. All right, a couple of questions in the chat. Maria Etter, this is one that I feel like we've probably all heard, and it's just maybe become white noise at this point. But if I sell, where am I going to go? Where am I going to go? Which is that's a real challenge, and I'd love to hear how anybody is responding to that, or if anybody's found a way to help people wrap their heads around the process. Is everybody still encountering this? I'm waiting to see that. You hearing that? Yeah. So when there's a few things that can be in play here, right? Is it a seller's market still? Yes, it is still a seller's market. And so what we've seen, and felt and heard anecdotally, and in the paperwork, is that there were a lot of offers written in April April, May, that are closing in June, July, and maybe even a little bit later, because those sellers are able to leverage the existing market and get a concession for an extended closing time period, right? So, hey, as intense as the market is, right? Here's data point number one. We're seeing more inventory on the market this month versus last month versus 2 months ago. Two, as a seller, you can dictate terms pretty aggressively in this moment, right? Will you be able to dictate terms next year like you can this year? Probably not. But right now, if your house went under contract on June 15th, you might not have to move till September 15th, right? You might give up a little bit on the price or some other conditions or elements to the conversation. But if you had 90 days to secure another home, and then you can run the data. How many homes came on in the last 90 days? How many are you likely to see in the next 90 days? What are all the opportunities for you to get into a home during that time period and confidently be able to sell and move? Right? There's one option. I don't advise prognosticating about what's going to happen with home values or the market. The one thing I would caution you with is saying like, hey, the market's gonna, we're expecting the market to fall apart in the next year. So if you rent for a year, you come back in and have a lot of opportunity. Don't get into that game. No one has a crystal ball. We don't want to mess around with that. And know that their opportunities, the opportunities that exist today, are unlikely to be there in the future. The market will tighten. It can shift. Interest rates will continue to go up. What happens with the economy? Who knows? And then Jermaine just put something in the chat box. Jermaine, like our feature presentation this week, man. And you want to talk a little bit about how you're overcoming subjection with our new partner, TrueHold?
Yeah, I've been using when I would love to sell, but I don't have a place to go. I've been using TrueHold as a possible source. It allows us to get an offer on the table that's pretty much market, so they know what kind of money they're looking at. And then it also allows them time to stay in the home as far as renting back. So this takes away, especially I have one that I'm working on right now. Been working on it since we got with TrueHold, but they'll be moving to another state, but they need a year and a half. So they're really enticed by the fact that they could actually cash out, still have a place to stay without having to move twice, and then move at the duration. So it works in those situations. And then I have another one where they want to downsize, but the market is, you're buying high, so they want to wait for about a year and a half. So it works out perfectly for them as well. So just negotiating the price points on that one. But there's just another tool in the toolbox that I've been using since it was introduced, and it helps with that objection.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real strong one for a couple of reasons. And if you weren't a part of the MOFR conversation around TrueHold and their sale leaseback program, it's not a negotiated price and then you close at some point in the future. It is, hey, it's $150,000 at market price. We pay that, and then you start they lease it back to the seller, so that there's a cash out moment for that seller that then allows them to deploy that capital in a different way. As in, maybe it's somebody who's really interested in moving right now. Jermaine gave a couple examples where people's timelines stretch out and they want to avoid the double move. Well, what if what if your client is financing and they're not in a position to make a cash offer, right? Well, we know that cash offers are much more competitive. If they have the opportunity to pull all the capital out of and all the equity out of their existing home, and then be able to take that into negotiations for their next property while having the security of a lease, that's something that we're also hearing is a really impactful way to leverage this tool. And Carrie just put some stuff in the chat about how how to leverage that. Or if you're looking for more information, excuse me, who you can reach out to, our rep from that group. But I think that, the reality is, lean on the data. Inventory is appreciating. Zoom in, or excuse me, we're seeing more inventory on the market. Zoom in, take a look at all the listings that have taken place in the last 90 days in that ecosystem. What's coming in the next 90 days. And then, Jermaine's point, and I know Wendy Dixon put something in the chat about it as well. But, if you're really in tune with what your clients are trying to accomplish, you'll find the right solution. And I think that's always the good reminder. And we're going to circle back to the belief system that we touched on, which is customers always come first. If you know what your clients are trying to accomplish, hey, we're going to move in about a year. Okay, well, there's an opportunity for you to access all your equity right now, avoid a double move, take advantage of the market, however you want to present that, and then get out of Dodge in 12 months. Well, that's not about Jermaine making another sale. It's actually about a way to be a good fiduciary to a client, right? By putting their interests first. And so if you're having that conversation with, I would sell, but I don't know where I'd move, better understand and dig in and go 3 layers deep with your questions around, well, what is it that they want to take advantage of with the move? Is it the downsize? Is it take advantage of the market? Is it that they, the upkeep on the house is too much? Or, there is something that is driving them to move, right? If you look at the data around why people move, you heard me do, that life events are come before real estate events. But just know that on the National Association of Realtors 2021 home buyer and seller survey, the people all right, did I freeze there? Am I back now? All right. The other category on why people sold their home is the one that included to take advantage of an appreciating market. The entire other category didn't even go above 12%. So the reason people are selling, right, in very rare circumstances, just because their home value has gone up by an arbitrary amount. There's something else that's pushing them, that's motivating them. If you can tap into that, I promise you that there's a solution and a tool in our toolkit that helps you serve them. So great stuff, guys. We're really looking forward to a double dose next week with our Win the Listing led by Larry Wonke, and then Maximize the Listing with Debbie Garson. So please be on bright and early, 9:30 on the dot, because we're going to launch right into the education next week. And then we'll look forward to seeing you at all the other great events we have throughout the month of June, including this Sunday at Coventry Village for the Juneteenth celebration. See you guys there.